That was surprising. What's up, Flick fans? There are a lot of movies dropping in theaters this weekend. If I had to recommend one, it may just be Strange Darling.
Do you have any idea the kind of risks a woman like me takes every time she agrees to have a little fun?
Never thought about it that way.
Nothing is what it seems when twisted one-night stand spirals into a serial killer's vicious murder spree. This is directed by J.T. Molnar. It stars Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner, who both give outstanding performances. And really, we're just focused on these two characters throughout the entire movie. There are people that come along and go away, but it really is all about these two. And the structure, which I would say almost plays like a character, serves a significance like a character would, because while this is told in parts, and we've seen that before numerous times, most recently Furiosa, which I thought was excellent storytelling, it's not told in order. So the structure is as different as I could have anticipated, because walking into this, I saw the trailer and said, oh, it's just going to be a movie about a serial killer, and he's chasing down this girl, hunting her down. And that's what we get in part 1, which is not actually part 1. It's like part 5.
What do you mean by that?
And admittedly, even though this has that film look to it, and the cinematography was working, the color was working, everything about it visually, I'm like, oh, this is nice. The story didn't grab me in the beginning. Now, starting to figure out that this was going to be told out of order, I'm like, all right, this is cool, but you've got to give me something more than this guy just kind of chasing this girl around, because that's what the beginning was. And frankly, while I was interested, I wasn't super invested. I wasn't super hooked. And so I'm like, okay, you've got to do something cool to kind of turn me around here and get me completely on board for what you're doing. And when a movie is able to do that on the level that Strange Darling did, that's when it becomes something more. And Strange Darling was able to become something more because not only did they get me so much more invested in these characters once we saw the way they were interacting with each other, which is interesting. It's different because there is a very sexual nature to their relationship when we start to see how they are interacting and really how they're getting to know each other. And that kind of picks up steam as we go along, and you realize that things aren't really what you think they are, what you expect them to be. And that's about as far as I can go, because there are numerous ways I could spoil this story for you. I'm not going to do that, because it's a smaller film and I want everyone to go see it. But when the film reveals itself and you immediately know kind of what you're in for, which is admittedly later on in the movie, that's when I went from, all right, I'm kind of enjoying this, to, oh, I'm really enjoying this, to ultimately, oh no, this is really great.
Oh, this is just too good.
And Strange Darling, it's a great movie. About 15 minutes in, I was hooked. I was completely on board. But I was also just riveted by the consistent surprises within the decision-making for what is normally a genre that delivers things that are entertaining and exciting, but it's hard to change it up, right? It's hard to take a horror thriller of this nature, or even something that deals with a serial killer like a Seven, and this year we had Longlegs, and admittedly, I enjoyed Longlegs, but with Longlegs, that's a very straightforward story that takes a satanic spin. This is not that. This is what feels like a straightforward story in the beginning, but starts to do something different with the storytelling that makes it stand out from the crowd. And that was awesome. Now, I mentioned the visuals. I mentioned the look and feel of the film. And again, cinematography, great. And that gritty and dark look to it all, but also just the switching up of the shot selection and the camera placement. And hold on. Do you know who shot this film, the director of photography? Giovanni Ribisi. What is going on? Is this his first? It's got to be his first time as a cinematographer. That's incredible. This guy's got he's a great actor, but he's got a future as a cinematographer. And I just love how I constantly flip the script. Whatever you anticipate for a moment or how a scene is going to progress, just be prepared to sit back and go, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that. And then once we kind of run out of reveals in this movie, it just continues on with the entertainment, and you never know what's going to happen next. I love the way this movie was written and executed. The pacing was great. There were some moments that I thought that were a little repetitive in the middle of the film. And again, the first 15 minutes, I wasn't really hooked. They were trying to hook me, didn't entirely do that until you get into the meat of the story. And I know I keep repeating myself, but it's magnificent how they were able to surprise me on that level. Now, again, if you're not on board with these surprises, you're not going to love it as much. And there's a lot of violence and gore in here, not to the shock factor, to the degree that a lot of people are thinking with a movie revolving around a serial killer. But there's plenty of blood, plenty of gore, plenty of unexpected kills that will catch you off guard. There's just enough of that to complement the amazing storytelling, which is the draw, even though you don't know it's the draw, that's the draw to this movie. And if you have amazing storytelling, if you have something that looks atmospheric and feels gritty, uses that film style to complement that with the kills and the blood and the gore, is a beautiful thing. And all in all, Strange Darling, what a surprise. I mean, goodness gracious. Before I give you my score, we also hit on this on the Movie Mode podcast. Go check out the latest episode talking about Blink Twice as well. And sorry I had to tiptoe so heavily around spoilers here. If you'd like something more about this film, let me know, because the twists and the turns, I believe, are worth talking about. And let me know your favorite part of Strange Darling down below. Also, dropping that like would help this channel. Strange Darling rocks. What begins as a familiar story revolving around a serial killer and his victim becomes something entirely riveting and unexpected. The shocking nature of the way the story is told, combined with an expertly crafted atmosphere, makes for an unforgettable experience. When I say unforgettable, I mean, I'm not going to forget this viewing of Strange Darling. Now, how good will it be now that I know how it goes on a second watch? We'll have to see. But this first watch, man, in theater, that was great. Truly great. Thanks for watching. See you soon.